This Q&A brought to you by So Natural, packed in fresh, full cream dairy milk. Put the full cream dream team on your team. Welcome to the video. So if I was smart, I would pick the most interesting questions and I would put them at the beginning of the video to increase the audience retention. But I am not that smart and I am oh so very lazy, so we will be going in order that I received the questions. I will, however, put timestamps in the description so that if you only want to know the answer to your question, you can just quickly check it and get your answer. Alright, the first question from Arjun Chakarapini. Holy shit, that's a cool name. Talk to us about your major injuries and how you overcame them. So I would say I haven't had any major injuries. For me, I would classify a major injury as something that requires surgery or something that limits what you can do for the rest of your training career. So based on that definition, I have not had any major injuries. I've had a lot of minor injuries that I've had to work around, but that's really just part of training hard, in my opinion. If you're training really hard, you will have minor issues come up from time to time. I've gotten a lot better at managing these minor injuries. Back when I was a runner, I was terrible at this. I would just keep running through all these injuries until they got a lot worse. And actually, I do still have some of those injuries with me today. I tore both of my labrums, my hip labrums, and so for me, sometimes squatting will bother my hips, which is why often I do pause squats like you see today. I would say the worst injury that I had as a runner is what's called a sports hernia. So this is basically, it's not like a normal hernia. It's basically your lower abdominal muscles coming apart from where they should be. And so basically the only real fix is to put a mesh into that area to hold everything together. And I never got the surgery, and it got really bad. It got to the point where I couldn't get out of bed normally. I had to like roll to the side and then twist to get up. And it was just extraordinarily painful. And I was still running like 10 or 15 miles per day with this injury, and it was just getting worse and worse. And eventually I just stopped running completely, and it's pretty much healed on its own. But if I do too much running, then it will definitely flare up again. In terms of lifting, I would say I'm a little bit more conservative and a little bit more aware of my body. This might just be because I am a little bit more mature. When I was a runner, I was like, 15, 16 years old or 20 years old, and now I'm over 30, so I definitely have a lot more wisdom and I'm a lot more mature just as a person. I've had rotator cuff issues which were solved with face pulls. I've had some knee issues which were solved with single leg work as well as strengthening hamstrings like you see in this exercise. I was developing some imbalances. I've had some elbow issues, but elbow issues are usually just a case of doing stupid exercises or going too heavy. Like I was doing triples on dumbbell extensions, which is just not smart. You really want to keep higher reps with this kind of isolation work. And basically this is just learning how to program for yourself, learning what areas are trigger points, quote unquote. And I could get injured in a week if I really wanted to, but I know my body, I know what I can and cannot do, and I know what exercises in what rep ranges to program when. And this doesn't come after 1 year of training, this comes after like half a decade of training. So you really have to listen to your body and know your weak points, know where you will get injured. Alright, that's a pretty long question starting off. Next question from HF Ploon. Not as cool of a name, but still pretty cool. I appreciate your question, even though your name is not as good. What is your demographic like? Does it change from platform to platform? On Quora, I cannot check my demographic. I think it's a lot of Indian. Quora is pretty much international. On Instagram, I can check it though, and I am 29% US, 26% Indian, 8% UK, and 3% for Canada and Australia each. The next question from Steps of a J. How can I include running into my workout program? So the way I would look at this is, are you a runner who lifts or are you a lifter who runs? You really do need to prioritize one of them over the other. you cannot really just split the middle and try to do both at a high level. You'll probably just end up sucking at both. Or you'll progress, but it's very slow. So if you're a lifter who runs, I would lift probably 4 to 5 times a week, and I would run maybe twice. I would have one of those runs be a longer, steady pace, and the other be intervals. So you're getting sort of a longer workout and a shorter one as well. If you are a runner who lifts, I would prioritize running, obviously. I would do a little bit more volume on the running side, and I would lift maybe 2 to 3 times per week, focusing on lower reps. The reason for lower reps is that you're already getting a good endurance stimulus. A runner should never do sets of 15 in the back squat. That's just not productive because you're already getting that endurance stimulus. So I would stick to like 3 to 5 reps, not super high volume. You don't want to get super sore, so don't do like Bulgarian split squats for drop sets. That's just going to destroy you. Stick to heavier weight with good technique and just overload that way. Also keep in mind that if you're getting to a high level on both, it's going to be very difficult to progress. So if you're running like a 4:30 mile and you're trying to improve your bench press and you're trying to improve your mile, well, that's just not going to work. You might get some progress, but you're better off just focusing on one or the other. All right, question 4 from HF Ploon again. 2 questions. Damn, dude. Can you do an in-depth Romanian deadlift tutorial? Yes, definitely. That will be coming up eventually. I hope I could say soon, but it'll be there at some time. All right, question 5 from Abhay and a bunch of numbers. Can you have anterior pelvic tilt even if the concerned muscles are strong but tight? Yes, absolutely. So anterior pelvic tilt will be mostly dependent on the ratio of strength between your hip flexors, your glutes, your abs, and your lower back. So the ratio of those 4 muscle groups are going to be what pulls the pelvis into a certain position. So yes, if they're all strong, you could still have an issue. If they're all weak, you could still have an issue because it's going to be the ratio of that strength. Question 6 from Seamus O'Cal. If I cut while lifting weights when I start in the gym, will I still get newbie gains? Yes, but they might be less, and this is all going to be dependent on your body fat percentage. If you're a high body fat percentage and you cut, you can still get newbie gains, just because you effectively still have enough energy, because you have energy from your body fat that is being released. However, if you're skinny, if you're like 12% body fat and you lift weights and you try to cut, you're just not going to have enough energy to build enough muscle tissue to really benefit from the newbie gains. So if you're like 25-30% body fat, I would say you can cut and still make really good progress. But if you're pretty lean, like if you're 10% body fat and you're like obsessed with having abs and you're just not eating enough, then yes, it can definitely impact your muscle growth. All right, the next question from OC Dorient. What do you think about Reddit's recommended routine? Is it a good template to create a bodyweight program? It's pretty good. I don't really like the shrimp squats. They look kind of silly. I don't think they'll be that effective. But yeah, it's a pretty good template, better than most that I've seen online. Keep in mind that it's scalable, but it's still cookie cutter, so it might not get you as good results as a custom plan, like the ones that I write. All right, the next question from Mandar Deshmu. For home workout with dumbbells, should you gain or cut? So this is mostly going to depend on where you are. If you're a high body fat percentage, yes, you should probably cut. If you're a low body fat percentage, if you're already pretty lean, you shouldn't cut because you'll probably lose muscle. If you're at a high level of strength, now is not the time to try to like shred up brah, because you're just going to lose your gains. All right, the next question from Jags Boy. What muscle to strengthen so as to prevent shin splints or how to recover from them? Easy question, do toe raises. This is going to strengthen your anterior tibialis, which helps to absorb the impact from running. The next question from Mark Abbey, 339. What do you understand by conditioning? I understand the meaning of hard work. I understand the meaning of suffering. I understand how to improve myself every day. Sort of a weird question. The next question, I am donating blood today. Are there any exercises that I can do today that won't have adverse effects? Well, that was yesterday, so sorry about that. I would be careful after you donate blood. I wouldn't do anything really strenuous. You can pass out, you can faint. I've actually tried to go running after donating blood, and I woke up in a ditch by the side of the road because I passed out when running. So definitely be careful, take it easy for at least a week, I would say. Weight training versus cardio for fat loss. Definitely weight training. I mean, cardio, it's not going to burn that much energy. It's not going to build lean body mass in most cases. And if I had to pick one, I would pick a healthy diet plus weight training. That is going to get you much better results than just trying to outrun a bad diet, which is possible, but that's a whole lot of running. Furthermore, too much cardio is going to impact your hormones negatively, which weight training probably won't do as much. So definitely weight training. Can you develop or grow great calves through sprinting, normal or uphill? Yes, but I would say it's not as effective as weighted calf work. This is mostly because you are using the elastic recoil from the Achilles tendon. So when you're running, you're basically bouncing from step to step. And this means that you're not using the calf as much as the actual Achilles tendon, which is storing and releasing energy. Occlusion BFR for occasional arm training. No, I don't think it's really worth it. Just do higher reps, just get stronger, just work hard. I don't think BFR is really worth it. The research is pretty good, actually, but it's one of those instances where I don't think it's really all that necessary. What happens if I lift and don't eat enough protein or don't eat protein at all? Well, most foods have protein, so if you're not getting any protein, you're basically just starving, so don't expect to make any gains. If you don't eat enough protein, you can still make progress. Even if you're only eating like 50 or 60 grams per day, you can maybe still gain muscle. It just might not be as quickly as a little bit more protein. So I would make sure that you're getting 1.6 grams per kilo per day. Thoughts on kettlebell integration to training? I don't really use kettlebells. I've used them before. I don't really like them that much. I think they're very overrated. Dumbbells, barbells are going to be much more effective and much more natural feeling in a lot of cases than kettlebell. Why do my calves get so much more sore than other muscles? Well, if you're training calves properly, yeah, they'll burn a lot and they'll get sore, and that's a good thing. You know, if your muscles are getting sore, it means you're targeting the right area. How do I hit my daily protein intake? Vegetarian, casein alone is too expensive on a monthly basis. This is tricky. Yeah, if you're vegetarian, just focus on higher protein, vegetarian-based sources, tofu, beans, whole grains, but this is tricky. A lot of vegetarian sources of protein, they have a lot of fats, a lot of carbs that sort of just are along for the ride, so hitting your macros is definitely more difficult without supplementing. All right, next question from Betsy Rutledge. Hey, Betsy. Negatives of doing exercises scattered throughout the day rather than one workout. I don't think there's really much negative to this. I think the overall volume is going to be more important than just doing one workout. So if you're doing like 10 sets of pull-ups scattered throughout the day, like one set every hour, I think that's perfectly fine. Would you recommend the Olympic lifts for explosive power in professional athletes? In most cases, no. They take a long time to learn. They can be hard on the joints. I would recommend something like a high pull or just a hang pull. You get most of the benefits. They're so much easier to learn, and you're still learning how to be explosive and powerful while using a barbell. So I think in terms of risk to reward, in terms of the learning curve, much better option. All right, the next question from Space Dave. Dave. Ab exercises, yay or nay? Yay if you like doing them, nay if you don't really like doing them. You don't really need ab exercises to get abs. You could exercise your core, but if you're calling them ab exercises, don't expect to get abs without, reducing your body fat percentage. Opinion on recreational drug use. Go for it, why not? Will you ever have a podcast? Maybe, yeah, I've actually been thinking about that, but I just have so many projects going on that I'm focused on other things at the moment. All right, the next question from Legit Shoutout. Shoutouts really help. Check pages in my bio and you won't regret it. Smiley face.
Okay. I see you do a lot of bodyweight exercises. Any tips for how to do a muscle up? I've never done a muscle up, so if you have any tips for me, let me know. Alright, the next question, about deadlift. That's all, just 2 words, about deadlift. Well, there's a barbell on the ground. It's taunting you. It says, "Can you pick me up, sucker?" Then you go over and you pick it up, and then you do it again. And you say, "F you, barbell, I just picked you up a bunch of times." And then you get freaking huge from picking up the barbell. And that's pretty much it. Alright, the next question, will you be reviewing Scott Herman next? Nope, but I will move him up in the list because I assume you are interested in me reviewing him. Alright, the next question, life in China, your growing up stories. I'll do a whole video on that maybe, but I think we're running out of time, so I'll keep that for some other time. Alright, the next question from King Hades 811, cool name. Been working out at home, but not able to hit protein goal due to shortage of food due to Corona. Alright, first of all, don't worry about protein numbers too much. You don't need that much protein to build muscle. And in order just to like survive, you really don't need much protein at all. Your body recycles amino acids very effectively. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. As long as you're hitting like 60 to 80 grams per day, you should be able to survive. If not, thrive. Alright, the last question, I nailed the timing on this one. Gave some advice on strengthening those joints, especially wrists. I would say do wrist curls, but I would do them with dumbbells rather than a barbell. A barbell sort of locks you into place and can actually get you injured. Alright, that's it for today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay safe, everyone.